Honey, where are my socks? Honey, where are my socks? Honey, where...
Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like... Fucker! You fucker! Fucker!
Oh! Huh? What the f...
Hello again, everyone. This is Bionic Slime. I'm your online voice for reviews of your choice, and this is another installment of BS Reviews. Thank you all for listening in. Today I'll be reviewing Quentin Tarantino's latest film entitled Inglourious Basterds, the fifth film in the infamous director's long-running healthy career as a famous movie director. Well, six if you count Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 as separate films, and even though it's supposed to be viewed as one film, I kind of don't, only because the movie was set the movies were released 3-6 months apart, so it's kind of hard to view that as one movie when you're seeing it at one point and then stopping for 3 to 6 months just to see the rest of it. But I digress. This is not about my comments on Kill Bill. I've got a lot of shit for that, so I'm not going to start now and get back to the point at hand, which is Inglourious Basterds, which is brought to you by Universal Pictures. It was directed and written by Quentin Tarantino. Stars Brad Pitt as Lieutenant Aldo Raine, Melanie Laurent as Shoshana Dreyfus, Christoph Waltz as Colonel Hans Landa, Eli Roth as Sergeant Donnie Donowitz, Diane Kruger as Bridget von Hammersmark, and Daniel Bruhl as Frederick Zoller. Plot of Inglourious Basterds. Set in 1944 Nazi-occupied France, Lieutenant Aldo Raine commands a Jewish army of soldiers who are planning to secretly infiltrate into France, dressed as civilians, in order to kill the Nazis brutally, savagely, and viciously in order to send a terrifying message to chill the spine of Adolf Hitler and the other high-ranking officials of the Nazi army that they are coming for them and that they are going to take them apart literally and physically. Also playing revenge is Shoshana Dreyfus, a girl whose family was invaded by Nazis and was slaughtered when she was harboring Jews, and has been long since planning her revenge, and now she finally has a chance when they are going to play a Nazi propaganda film at her theater that she owns, and she plans to blow it up with the help of the Bastards. The problem is getting all the high-ranking Nazi officials into the film, along with Adolf Hitler blowing it up without everything going off without a hitch. And as you can probably tell, it's not going to be that easy, or that clean for that matter. Review of the plot. As you probably have figured out by my infamous little angry rant with my war movies video that I released not too long ago, I really don't give a flying rat's ass about war movies. There's no offense to anyone who enjoys them, but I frickin' hate them personally. I don't find them interesting. I find the whole idea of the military demoralizing, diminishing, and degrading to human beings in general, not the troops. I don't diminish them, but just the military itself. This is just my opinion, though. But I don't really care for war movies unless they actually have a plot that's rather different than the rest and do something a little different now and then, which is exactly why Inglourious Basterds ends up making that exception. This is a very different kind of war movie, as it's not really focused on the big guns and the explosions and flying body parts like in Saving Private Ryan. There's still drama and emotion, but it's a little more lighthearted, at least dark-hearted, one could say, but it's definitely not your average war movie. There's a lot of really good tense scenes in here. Then that's one of the things that surprised me with this film, because it's advertised heavily as it's all about the bastards beating and bludgeoning the shit of the Nazis into bloody piles of chunks of flesh and bone, and it really is not just all about that. It's a lot more about tension and more like building the character's suspense around sometimes the most simplest scenes. Hell, in the very first few minutes of the film, you get an extremely tense scene with this Nazi officer talking to this one man about harboring Jews in his house, supposedly. And it's so tense because nothing's really happening, but just the way the actors are talking, the way it's moving, and that really goes to credit to the great writing of the story. This is a very different film from Quentin Tarantino because it's less on the humor, like in Reservoir Dogs was, and just more on the intensity of the scene and the drama of everything, which is what really impressed me with this movie. And at the same time, you got this dark action angsty comedy stuff going on with the bastards hilariously killing the Nazis, but making it gory as well as interesting at the same time. And that's kind of a hard thing to pull off, so I commend him for doing that. As I said, what really makes this movie stand out is that it focuses on a different setup. It focuses on a little different, plot point by having the Nazis being brutalized by these soldiers, and it's a really different concept to go against than as opposed to other war movies, and for that I really admire them for doing that. Review the characters. Like I said, this movie really would not have worked in intense scenes unless you had good people to follow up in it, and by George, they in fact do have really good characters. Brad Pitt is very humorous here as Lieutenant Aldo Raine, and he really gives a lot of smart-ass sheen and shine to his role. I really wish he would do comedies more, because after his hilarious performance in Burn After Reading, he really showed a natural talent for being a goofy and funny-ass man. I really wish he would do more. I really like the unique diversity of the cast here. You got a really interesting role with Eli Roth, who's famously known as a director for like such movies as Hostel and Cabin Fever. Very gory director, and he comes off with a very funny and yet cool persona here as this character of Sergeant Donnie Donowitz. I really liked him, and I think he has a lot of characteristic presence in his face. Even though he didn't do as much as I thought he did, I really liked how they went with him. You got a lot of surprise roles here. I mean, you got B.J. Novak, guy who plays Ryan from The Office. He's in here. Interesting role. You got Mike Myers actually playing a serious role for a change. Shocker there, and I mean it. But by far who I thought was the most impressive was Christoph Waltz as Colonel Hans Landa, and Diane Kruger as Bridget von Hammersmark. They were, to me, the most standout people. I've always adored Diane Kruger ever since our National Treasure. I thought she's a really great actress who really needs to get out more, because I think she could do a lot of good work if she got some more mainstream films. I think she's beautiful. I think she's very talented. She knows how to make the emotions raw in her face without just using the dialogue. She got a lot of good body movement with that. But Christoph Waltz as Colonel Hans Landa was excellent. He had such an on-screen presence and character, and I'd never even freaking heard of this guy. But he almost in a way stole the movie. He's the first guy I can honestly say is a Nazi that you like and yet you hate at the exact same time, because you like the presence and the mojo he kind of brings to the screen. Just the character presence he brings. And it's very impressive for an actor to do that, to carry in it when he's not the star of the film. Melanie Laurent as Shoshana Dreyfus was good. I kind of felt Diane Kruger kind of outshined her in terms of the acting emotions, but she was still very good. View of the music and cinematography. Music was very good. It was weird, and yet it fit. At times, it sounded like it was a Western. It sounded like it was this old Wild West, and other times it felt like it was an old-fashioned movie. It had a lot of real twists and turns with the music. It's like it didn't know where it wanted to be, and yet every time it used this type of tune, it knew where to put it, it knew how to do it. Cinematography was really good. A lot of the camera angles on the zoom-ins and the close-ups, it really gave the film a very unique look in terms of the adding to the tension. This movie's really more about tension. It's advertised as a comedy, but really there's much more the tension and the drama of it. It's very tight close, very tight-lipped and intense, and it was really well done. I'm very impressed with that. Flaws about the movie. As you've probably heard from what I've said before, this movie was advertised as a comedy, and there's one thing that I really don't like is when trailers give false advertisement. And one of the biggest problems this movie really suffers from that bugged me the most was that it kind of gives you a misled direction to thinking that the Bastards are going to be stars of the film. They're not, really. They are important, yes, but there's a lot of other storylines going on, a lot of other characters, and the film makes it out like it's going to be them. Well, they're not in there as much as you would think. I mean, it's not a terrible thing, because there's the other characters and stories that are going on are good, but it just kind of annoys me that you would advertise it that way, and then act like this is all about them, and then they're not in there that much. Another thing that bothered me is that I was kind of disappointed as far as the gore hound goes. This wasn't as gory as I expected. I don't think they amped up the use of the violence that they should have used. That would have helped make things a little bit more interesting and just a little more graphic, because after all, this is a war movie and violence is kind of required. But it's not that kind of movie. But still, it just would have been nice to have that. You know, that's just something I felt that should have been would let use more. And I also felt that Lieutenant Aldo Ray, Brad Pitt's character, should have been used a lot more. Final wrap up: Inglourious Basterds is an excellent film for Tarantino to put up on his mantle. I do not feel it is as memorable as his other films, so say Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs, like that. But this movie really is creative in the sense that it is done so interestingly by just making it all on the tension, all in the tense in the moments, the tense talking scenes. You got a very interesting, unusual cast of characters and actors here. I like his imagination using different sources of celebrities, even if you call these celebrities, I never heard of half of them, but anywho, good music. I like the camera angles. I was disappointed at the fact that the Bastards were focused on in the commercials, but not really in here, so it's kind of misleading. But overall, this is still a very good film. Brilliant script. Tarantino really knows his good stuff. I give Inglourious Basterds 4 stars out of 5 stars. Well, that's all for now. This has been Bionic Slime for BS Reviews. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.